firestorm of controversy after some outrageous comments from one of the architects of Obamacare about you, the American voter. You'd think that there would be a lot of outrage about this anyway. Well, there's not, at least if you're watching the mainstream media. Jonathan Gruber was seen on tape at least 3 separate times calling the American people stupid and admitting that Obamacare was intentionally written to deceive. Well, lawmakers are now demanding answers in the White House, fielding some questions, but the mainstream media has largely ignored those remarks so far. Howard Kurtz is a Fox News media analyst. Howard, what are they saying about why they're ignoring such a big story?
Oh, they're ignoring it completely in some parts of the media. I remain amazed, Heather, that this story broke on Monday. It's Friday. The New York Times still hasn't published a word. Other major news organizations are catching up. For example, the Washington Post finally did a front-page story yesterday. And I'm not one to cry bias every 10 minutes. Sometimes there are other big stories that soak up all the oxygen. But in this case, it seems like liberal bias because these remarks were so arrogant and go to the question of deception and the selling of Obamacare. Even if you don't think it's that big a deal, how do you not cover the controversy?
Well, yeah, putting politics aside, this is what we would call a great news story because it's just so catchy, and the video is so catchy. You want to hear what he has to say, and it gives you a window on how things really operate in Washington. So just from that point of view, why the heck not cover it?
I know sometimes you get it in an email or a memo and it's complicated and it's abstract. I mean, here you've got the video. It's the man's own words. MSNBC covered it just to the point of putting Jonathan Gruber, the MIT professor, on the air with Ronan Farrow, who conducted an utterly sycophantic interview. I thought it was utterly embarrassing. Now, among the broadcast networks, CBS has finally caught up. CBS Evening News did it last night. CBS This Morning did one segment yesterday. But NBC and ABC still have not tackled this issue, despite the fact, as Scott Pelley of CBS said, everybody in Washington is talking about it.
Wow. And look at that. ABC, NBC, the morning shows, the nighttime shows, they've got hours and hours of programming, but yet they're not picking up on it. What about the coverage on the web? Is that something that you've taken a look at as well?
Yeah, there has been more coverage on the web, and there's an ideological battle over, well, how important was Jonathan Gruber? Well, he's important enough for the administration to pay $400,000 as a consultant. And some people argue, well, this argument he made about it's a hidden tax and it transfers money, that people who really follow this closely may have known about that during the debate. It doesn't mean Obamacare is a terrible program, but it does mean that one of the chief architects, has a very insulting view of the American public and is bragging when he doesn't realize this is going to go viral about, pulling the wool over the public's eyes. I don't see how that's not a story. I don't care what kind of organization.
Yeah, certainly, Howie. There was one itty-bitty article that was buried on the website of the New York Times, but it just talked about
online.
about that hidden tax. It made no mention whatsoever of the big piece of it where this guy's calling the American voter stupid. Unbelievable. Okay, well, I do want to ask you about one other thing, and that is open enrollment for Obamacare actually begins tomorrow. Last year, big, flashy rollout, with all those problems. But this year, it's a lot more quiet by comparison.
Well, what you have is the administration playing the expectations game. Yes, it's not as big a story the second time around, but the administration doesn't want to get caught with headlines a couple of months from now when the enrollment period ends saying that far fewer people signed up. So administration officials have put out a lower estimate than everybody expected. I can't remember the figure. I think it was like another 3 million or something along those lines. So as they can still declare success, depending on if more people sign up, then they can say, hey, it shattered our expectations. That's a lot of what politics is in Washington, setting the expectations low enough that you can then crow about exceeding them.
All right, Howie Kurtz, only in Washington, our Fox News media analyst and the host of Media Buzz. And we'll see you this weekend, Sunday morning. It's a great show.
Britt Hume, my special guest. Thanks, Heather.
Fantastic. Thanks.